Robert Vinatoli from Silver State Preps, along with my co-host.
Joseph Baker.
And we're bringing you your round 5 of National Signing Day coverage, and it's looking like the class is filling up. I mean, we're in the wee hours of the night. It's almost 8 o'clock here at Silver State Prep Studio, and we got 7 recruits going to Southern Oregon. I just want to touch on that class real quick. I mean, they got a bunch of incoming talent coming in. I mean, what do you feel overall about the class?
Well, I mean, it's a great class for Southern Oregon. I mean, they got a lot of talent coming in, and it's led off by Lance Worthington out of Centennial. I mean, he's a definite player that you had D1 talent. So, to see him go to D2 school over everything he had offered from an Oregon to a Utah, he had a couple schools looking at him. I mean, Malik Davis was a great player at Desert Pines. Isaiah Carter, Queen Buscom, AJ Cooper. I mean, you got some great players like
Terry Dodd from Cheyenne.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Terry Dodd, too.
Big 6'5", 280-pound lineman. I mean, you play for the Desert Shield, the D1A, and they were unfortunately one of the doormats this year. But,
right.
I mean, he didn't get the looks he deserved. That's another underrated signing for them. I mean, I'm going to let you finish, though. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, I can tell, man. I mean, they had a lot of great talent going into that class that could have gone D1 easily, but, they chose to stick together at Southern Oregon. And it's really interesting because, again, I mean, you look at it this way: this is a group from Vegas that stuck together. You got 6-7 kids on here that easily, could have gone anywhere else, to play or get multiple looks, but decided to stick together as a group. It reminds me a lot of the Victorville team from last year that I looked at when I was watching tape from my buddy Tyler Dobbins, who I played football with at Basic High School. I mean, it was, great tape. The kid became a great quarterback after, sitting out a year or two after high school. And then you've seen a couple other kids that, from Vegas out there. And those kids stuck together and they formed a great team. They made the playoffs. They didn't get to the championship, but they made the playoffs as a team. And that speaks about a core, because what you want most is players that can stick together. When you get kids out of the same area, it's easier to get them to cooperate with each other and play together and play like a team, because these kids know each other. You talk to kids from around the valley. So I mean, it's great to definitely see this team stick together and see Southern Oregon actually get some talent from the Vegas area and see these kids get looked at.
Right, I mean, talk about this class. I mean, top to bottom, it's nice. Malik Davis, if he was 6'3", he could go anywhere he wanted. Lance Worthington, I mean, he had an offer from Utah. We don't know what happened with that, unfortunately, for Lance, but I know he's so happy to just, reach his dreams with playing collegiate football. You got Canyon Springs, Isaiah Carter, he had an offer with Holy Cross, decided to stick closer to home. And I just want to touch on Isaiah Carter real quick. I mean, what an inspirational story. Unfortunately, Isaiah lost his mother to breast cancer, but I've talked to him a couple of times, within the recent months, not about his personal life, but just football in general. And you can just see that not only is he a bright young man who understands the games and the concepts of football, very soundly, but he also has a high character. Anytime I needed a quote, about an article, or hey, what about Zavante Stevenson, or who's your guys' next quarterback? He was always there for Silver State Prep. So I mean, just from my heart and everyone's hearts here, we'd like to congratulate you, with your situation. Look at this class though, top to bottom. Malik Davis, he could be a running back or a defensive back for this team. Lance Worthington, shout out Lance, go follow him at the Real Lance 6 on Twitter. I know he loves those followers. He's a dynamic player. I mean,
isn't he also the same running back that busted for a 99-yard gain in a playoff game?
Right, yeah.
Not very many players can say they've done that in a playoff game when the pressure's on, when it counts most. For you to bust out such a big play, I mean, that speaks for itself, because not very many people could say they ran for 99 yards or anything close to that. That's a huge gain.
Hey, I mean, you talk about them, soundly, Lance Worthington especially, that 99-yard gain against Palo Verde. I mean, I know it came in a losing effort, but I mean, the starters were still on the field, and Lance's gonna do great, Isaiah's gonna do great, I know Terry's gonna do great. You got a great class, and I mean, I almost wish we could have got some of these guys on UNLV. I mean, I know it wasn't there for Bobby. He's got his own eye test personally, and we'll get to that in round 6. But I mean, just congratulations to Southern Utah. You guys could potentially be building a pipeline within the state, and that's a good thing for the Valley.